Functions are very interesting and useful component of any computer language. When you learn and get used to of it, you will definitely be thankful for those who developed such kind of functionality and made a coder's life whole lot easier. In PHP, we perform different things according to different scenarios of our project. Sometimes we need to perform a same kind of task or a bit different task for several times at different areas of a page or on different pages of site. So instead of copy paste same code again and again, there is a very useful and handy thing which is called a function. Functions not only facilitate us but also make our code look nicer, cleaner, and make it more efficient. Function doesn't do what I told, but it's really much more than this. So function is defined to perform a procedure when it's called. Procedure can be a single line script only or combination of many lines of code. This code might consist of standard PHP code, functions, or anything within PHP. So basically, function is used to perform a predefined procedure when we need that. There are two types of functions: user-defined functions, second, internal functions or built-in functions. At times, when we are in need of some customized functionality for several times, we define a procedure of our own and keep it as a function. This type of function is called as user-defined function. So we have to define the whole procedure once only to create this function, and then we keep on calling it whenever we need this. Before creating or developing a function, we must have accurate procedure in mind what our function will perform. If we don't have an idea, we cannot create one. Also, we should keep a note of those scenarios where we would like the same function do little different actions. So we have to develop a function which basically will be a full package to deal with different scenarios and will perform the task accordingly. Let's try to make a function now. To create a function, we need to write function keyword. This keyword tells PHP that we are going to declare a function here. Right after function keyword, we mention the name of the function. Function name can start with a small letter and an underscore, which is the best practice. Each function must have a unique name. So let's name our first function greetings. What our function will do is, when we call it, it will output hello world. So just echo it out in here. Echo hello world. So this is our user-defined function. Let's see it in our browser. Let's go to our destination page, enter path in address bar, hit enter, and here you can see nothing is displayed. Nothing is here. This is because we didn't call our function. Although our function is absolutely ready, but we didn't call it. You can make as many functions as you want. These functions will not do anything unless you call them. Let's just call it now. To call a function, we need to write its name and parenthesis and semicolon to close the line, and that's it. This is a call to greetings function. Greetings, parenthesis, and semicolon. Now we can view the output of our function. Let's go to the browser again, refresh, and now you can see what's expected. Our function worked and it echoed hello world. This is just to demonstrate you the syntax of function and how function is defined and called. Now let's do another thing with our function. Scroll down a bit. Now let's create a function with the same name. We'll comment out the above function. This is going to be a newer version of our function. Let's say our function will say hello James when it's called. Now let's first comment out all of the above lines of code. Just keep our call to our function. You can call a function before defining it. It doesn't matter. Only your function should not be enclosed in any conditional statement. So we can keep this function call as the names of functions are same. Go to the browser and just refresh, and here we go. Hello James as expected. Now we want our function to greet some specific person to whom we want to greet when we call this function. To do this, we need to pass a value that would be the name of any person to this function. Let's create a variable name which will store the user defined names, and we can pass it to our function. So we need to tell our function that you will be given an argument. Put $arg between parentheses, and now function can use this argument as we direct it to use. Now we have defined that this function will get an argument. Then the call without this argument supplied will generate error. You can see here as well, red line is indicating error. Now let's tell our function what to do with the argument coming to it. After echo, put hello and concatenate it with a space, as we can do easily with strings, and then $arg, whatever the argument will be displayed here, and then concatenate with an exclamation sign. So here we are greeting with hello, then space, and then argument, which will be supplied at the time of function call. Now we'll pass the variable name, that is storing the name of any user, to this greetings function call here between parentheses. It will be used by this function. Let's pass our variable to function and let's go to the browser. $name. Here you can see an error. This is because our variable is defined after the call to the function, which is absolutely wrong way to use a variable before defining it. Let's correct it by moving this code before the function call. Refresh the browser, and now you can see the output hello James. Now whatever the user inputs our variable will receive, and that name will be greeted. Let's change it to Mike. It will output hello Mike. And of course, if the output is a string, the string will be concatenated with our hello message. Like change it to good morning, and you can see in the browser hello good morning. Sometimes it may happen that no string is available as the argument when we call our function, or let's assume our user doesn't supply anything. In this situation, only hello will be displayed. To overcome this situation, as we want to greet in a good way, we can define a default value of the argument. We can assign this default value directly to our argument here in the function. For this, just assign $arg a value. Let's say good morning. Now what will happen if nothing is supplied to our function call? The function will use the default value. Let's remove name from the function call and check it out in our browser. Obviously the same hello good morning message. Let's change it to good evening and just see it one more time, and once again you can see the output as expected. So now we know that default value can be given to the arguments of a function, and this will be used at time when that argument doesn't get a value at function call. Now we have default value assigned, but still we pass an argument to our function. Then our function will use the value supplied at the time of function call. Let's change the value of our variable $name to Eric, and obviously we have hello Eric message. Now you understand how we can supply an argument to the function and how we can set some default value for this.